toss. So San Francisco will kick off, and it appears that they'll kick off against the wind. Green Bay or San Francisco has played in 9 out of the last 10 NFC championship games. These are two of the elite in the NFL.
And they're not only the elite this year, as that graphic shows, they've been the elite in this league, one of these teams, for the last 10 years.
Royal Preston back deep with Bill Schrader. Wade Ritchie set to kick it off. He's got a very strong leg. I was down on the field just a minute ago, and based on what I felt, he's kicking against the wind. And this is going to be Preston. Dangerous. But not this time. Royal Preston taken out of bounds at about the 20 by Reggie Gibbons. I'd like to welcome those of you who just watched Carolina pick up their first victory and beating New Orleans to Lambeau Field in Green Bay. We're just underway.
You talk about a great scene, and you just see and feel these fans and the excitement here. And you know, that's why one of the big reasons that Green Bay has played so well here is you can just feel this crowd. You can feel these people. You can feel the ghosts of greatness here.
Well, there's some greatness in terms of some of the players on the field today. The two backs behind Brett Favre are Henderson and Jervy, and Favre will throw on first down. And has a man, and he's gone. That's Antonio Freeman. 80 yards. Favre to Freeman. Opening play. Is that ever the way this started?
That's the way to loosen it up for the run later and start off with a pass. Brett Favre was going to throw that pass to the right. He looked to the right, there was nothing there. Then he came back to Antonio Freeman on the left side.
What a shot this is.
Here's Antonio Freeman here against Marquez Pope. That's a cover 2 or zone coverage. Antonio Freeman gets by Merton Hanks, who took a terrible angle on that.
And Favre threw his strike.
But he looked the other way first, Pat. He looked to the right first. I think maybe that's what flattened Merton Hanks out. See, here it is over here. It's going to be a zone. You see Marquez Pope hits him. Now, number 36, Merton Hanks has to get over, but you see that flat angle? That's a terrible angle. You can't take the angle where he was. You have to take the angle where he's going.
Strikes from 80 yards out. Well, that's what's been the history of this series. In this Green Bay dominance, they got their head quickly, and now the 49ers come out to about the 26th, Terry Kirby. And let's have a look at the San Francisco offense. Steve Young, of course, the leader of that offensive unit, playing very, very well as he ever has. He says he feels better than he has in a long time. Ray Brown at guard, Chris Dahlman, Kevin Gogan, and Derek Deese in front of him. The injured Packer on the last play. Hurst, Edwards, Stokes Rice, and Irv Smith, the tight end. That's the way they'll open it.
Pass protection by its line.
Here's Steve Young. And into the backfield on first down is Leroy Butler. He's the guy you better find, and that's what Steve Young said yesterday. You got to know where he's located.
Leroy Butler is a guy that blitzes a lot and says that one thing when he blitzes, he said he goes to a point where the quarterback's going to be. And he said one of the keys to this game is getting to that point and knocking Steve Young on his back. He said you have to get to him, you have to knock him down, and you have to knock him down early. And Leroy Butler went out and did it himself in the first play.
Two tight ends set up for the 49ers this time. Young gives to Garrison Hurst. Brian Williams made the stop. Here's the Packer defense. They play the run well. Vonnie Holliday, Gilbert Brown, Dotson, and Reggie White. The linebackers, Brian Williams, Bernardo Harris, and George Kuntz is back after hamstring problems. Tyrone Williams, Darren Sharper, Leroy Butler, and Craig Newton.
There's Fritz Sherman, the defensive coordinator of the Green Bay Packers, and he has his own script. And he's going to mix up, he's going to play a different defense on all first 15 of these plays.
4 wide receivers for Young. And again, he's taken down, this time by Reggie White.
What a start for the Green Bay Packers. Wow. I was saying that you can just feel this crowd. I think it goes right through to the players. Here's Reggie White. Here's what he's looking at. He's looking to his right side. And you see he has 3 on 2 there. 3 Packers on 2. Here's what he's looking at on the other side. You see Leroy Butler, good coverage there. Everyone's trying to be physical. They have 3 on 2 on that side.
The ball goes through Punter's legs and out of bounds, out of the end zone. Safety. Reggie Roby couldn't find the handle. Ball was through his hands, out of the end zone, and just like that, it's 9-0.
Steve Mariucci is saying, what the heck do we have to do against these Packers? Every time we play them, we get off to a start like this. So you get the free kick from the 20-yard line, and the Packers are going to get good field position again.
Handled by Preston. And Preston is to the 48. And that's where the Packers will begin their second offensive possession. Shimura in motion. Barth is down. Taken down by Roy Barker. We might get off a pass one of these times.
Roy Barker had 4 sacks last week.
There's the 49er defensive unit, Dolman and Barker, who just made the sack. Inside, Junior Bryant, Bryant Young, Ken Norton Jr., Winfred Tubbs in the middle, and Lee Woodall. And the secondary, Pope, Hanks, McDonald, and Darnell Walker. 2nd and 15 after the sack. Derby's the deep back, and he gets the carry. And Travis Derby. Folks off the left side, picked up about 3. Chris Dolman shut it down. Denver has won their 8th straight game in Week 9. Minnesota lost their first game. Washington won their first one. Carolina won their first one. Upset week, as you said.
And if you're hearing Green Bay of those Week 9 notes, number 2 is the biggest one for these Green Bay Packer fans.
Got some reaction from the fans, didn't it? Here's Favre back to throw it. Pass incomplete. Freeman running a hook pattern.
And that was good coverage by Darnell Walker.
It was.
And the 4th catch is to Antonio Freeman.
Sean Landetta is the punter. It's fielded by McWaters at about the 9, and he's taken down and knocked out of bounds at the 15 by Jeff Thomason. Here's Steve Young. Outside, almost picked off. That was intended for Jerry Rice. Sharper was the man who almost picked it off.
Yeah, it's interesting. Everyone we talked to in the Packers said that the key to beating the 49ers is to be physical with them. And you can just tell on both offense and defense that everything they're doing. I mean, they're physical at the line of scrimmage. They're physical with the wide receivers. They're physical with the tight end. They're physical with the quarterback. They're physical against everything.
Garrison Hurst is tripped up right at the line of scrimmage. That'll make it 3rd and 10. Leroy Butler.
And Leroy Butler is the guy that I think is the lead of that physical side.
I agree with you.
I think if you have a guy and said, you know, who is the tough guy? Who is the guy that represents toughness? Who's the guy that brings toughness to the Green Bay Packers? It's that guy right there, number 36, Green.
He's made some plays already.
No, and he has bad ankles. I mean, I was here Friday at practice. He didn't even come out of practice. He had a shot that day and couldn't run or do anything. And then here he is on Sunday making plays all over the field.
4 wide receivers. Young just does get it out of there. And the pass is picked off by the Packers' Pat Terrell.
Listen to this crowd now. And that was the thing that we talked about. We talked about physical and getting the turnovers, and that's exactly how the Packers are starting this game.
Excuse me, go ahead.
I was just saying, being physical with the receivers and then having good coverage also. Now, I think Steve Young forced that one. He forced that one into Terrell Owens into double coverage because they really had short and deep. Leroy Butler was underneath, and you see the Pat Carroll was deep, so they had him short and deep. And wherever Steve Young threw that ball, it was probably going to be intercepted anyway.
He never saw it because the pressure was on Steve Young.
That's the physical deal they have on defense.
Jervy to the 30. Those turnovers you talked about them, John, in the beginning. 14-3 in the last 4 meetings.
Yeah, we were talking about the 3 times they knocked them out of the playoffs. It was 11-1. And that was in the last 4 meetings. And Russ has said Steve Young has never beaten the Green Bay Packers. And that goes all the way back to when he played for Tampa Bay.
2nd and 9. Favre look left, throws right. Intended for Tyrone Davis, but not near him.
Right, a couple of these others could end up in the stands.
Favre drops. Stepped up and had time, has a man. Touchdown. Brooks, Robert Brooks. Another perfect strike for Favre.
Yeah, these Green Bay Packers, they come out of that locker room to go after him.
Longwell for the extra point. Mike Pryor is the holder. The extra point is good. 16-0 Green Bay in the first quarter. McWaters. Herded backwards to about the 20. He got up to the 25. And that's where the 49ers will start this offensive possession. Back at Lambeau Field, and it's been an unfortunate first quarter for the 49ers.
Been a great first quarter for the Green Bay Packers and their fans.
That's Garrison Hurst for an NFL update. Let's return to James Brown in Los Angeles.
Tampa Bay got his ground game in high gear today. 246 yards rushing, including 128 by Mike Allstott. Bucks undefeated at home, knock off the unbeaten Vikings. Green Bay wins. Wow, just a game back then of the Vikings back to back. And John.
Well, Green Bay is well on their road to winning. Kirk Strafford has moved in at left offensive tackle for the 49ers. He just reported this week. Here's Young. Batted away by Bonnie Holiday. As Young rolled in his direction.
You know, the Green Bay Packers are just beating the 49ers to the punch every place they can. Here's Bonnie Holiday now, and he's going to just get upfield because this is the edge that they always have to defend. Anytime you play the 49ers, you have to defend this edge here because when Steve Young bootlegs, rolls, scrambles, or moves, most of the time it'll be out to the left. And that's what Fritz Sherman was talking about the other day. So you always have to have something on the right edge of your defense.
4 wide receivers and Terry Kirby in the backfield for the 49ers. Young. It's caught by J.J. Stokes. I thought it hit the ground.
Yeah, Steve Young just had to get something to get him started, and maybe that completion here to J.J. Stokes could be the thing. Because he's tried everything. I mean, he's tried to drop back, and he's gotten rushed and blitzed and sacked there. He tried to bootleg, and he got the ball knocked down by Bonnie Holiday, and he hasn't gotten into any kind of rhythm at all in this first quarter.
Garrison Hurst outside the 40, 42. The Lost World. If you'll have a look up where the Fox box normally is tonight at 7, 6 Central Time. There'll be throughout this broadcast some subtle reminders. Don't forget that first time on television. 2nd and 4. Behind the line is Hurst. Bonnie Holiday was first there.
You know, we thought when we did Minnesota about Randy Moss doesn't look like a rookie. Here's another guy that doesn't look like a rookie is Bonnie Holiday. I mean, he's going to get penetration there. And again, everything that they do, they want to get up the field on their right side, the left side of the 49ers. Here's Holiday, and watch him. He's going to come right up here now. He's going to be in good shape. If it is a run like that, he runs right into it. If it's a bootleg by Steve Young, he contains that.
Third down, 3 wide receivers set up for Steve Young, who gets it to Stokes. And Stokes squirming for a first down. Rod Smith, who just acquired by the Packers.
Yeah, we were talking about the 49ers and Steve Mariucci calling the plays here. That if they're going to do it, it's going to be Steve Young passing the ball. Because if you look at their rushing game, I mean, their stats really aren't a true indicator of how they run the ball, because they really got a lot of those stats in the first 3 games. And
Pat Summerall here with John Madden. That's about how much the 49ers have to go to get a first down. The Packers leading 16-0. They struck in a hurry. 3 wide receivers. And the give is to Garrison Hurst, and he got enough for the first.
Yeah, that was an interesting defense by the Packers, and they were probably expecting a quarterback sneak because they put Reggie White over the center.
Yep.
And I haven't seen them move Reggie White around like that in a long time.
Couple of years.
You're going to say, here's Reggie White. He's right here. And I think Reggie White is playing for a quarterback sneak by Steve Young, and Garrison Hurst just runs it right into the 4 hole.
2 tight ends set up for the 49ers as they go in a hurry. Young fakes and throws. Pass was deflected, I believe, incomplete. Now they say he caught it. Now they say it was incomplete.
Yeah, defensively, what you try and do is throw off their timing and rhythm. And that's what the Packers have done.
Had trouble lining up his players on that play. And here comes the Green Bay blitz. Young gets it out to Owens. Terrell Owens.
I think, to me, right now, Terrell Owens is the most effective of these 3 receivers. I mean, you got Jerry Rice, and Jerry Rice isn't what he used to be. You have J.J. Stokes, and I think that Terrell Owens is the guy. Look at the first 15 plays of the 49ers. This is what they script, and you can see that they had 6 runs, 9 passes, so they were going to pass, out of 13 different formations. So they want to give, in their first 15 plays, a lot of different looks.
They need 2 yards. And Young might get it on his own. And more. And slides. At the 25, Steve Young gets his first down and more.
Yeah,
on his own.
I remember I used to say that Steve Young is the best quarterback in the 49er team. He's also the best running back. And then Garrison Hurst came and, and had a year, but I still think that Steve Young is the best running back. I mean,
also one of the fastest.
Yeah, you can do things with your feet, you can do things with your eyes, and he's learned this. Again, the rule is if you go head first, it's open season. They can hit you. If you go feet first, then you give up. They can't touch you, but the ball is spotted where the ball goes, not where your feet go.
Young to throw it. Stokes out of bounds at the 2 or 1. Did he get them both down? No, he didn't.
You see, he's right here, and he's going to make the move there. He makes a corner move. This is a pretty good throw. He has control, and he doesn't get that second foot in.
No, he doesn't.
He had both feet in, but he didn't have control of the ball yet. He doesn't have the ball yet. Now he has the ball, and watch, he doesn't get that right foot in.
Steps on the line.
Yep.
Very close. Yep. 16-0, 2nd and 10. The ball play to Hurst. Breaks 1 tackle, another, and Hurst jams down for about an 8-yard gain, stopped by Bernardo Harris.
Yeah, that's one thing with this Green Bay Packer defense is if you can keep them out on the field on a lot of plays, you can wear them down. And you see the blocking right here, and this is where the ball's going to come. A little delay. You see Ray Brown. He makes a good block there. He comes from his left guard spot, steps around the center, and he gets just enough there in Bernardo Harris to make a little hole for Garrison Hurst. Big Gilbert Brown. You know, they have that rule in the NFL now that you have to have a plain shield unless you have a prescription, because you know, they want to, you know, if someone gets hurt, they want the doctors to be able to see into the eyes. And there's a few players on each team that have a prescription to have a tinted shield, and Gilbert Brown, for one reason or another, is permitted.
They're working on the play clock, and Vaughn Booker came out, and Reggie White came back into that Packer defense. 3rd and 1. Young, Rice. First down, I believe.
That's Jerry Rice's first catch of the day. You know that not having that play clock there is a little problem for the quarterback, but when you get a guy like Steve Young that's been around for so long, he has a clock in his head, and he knows you know how long it takes to get the play in. They're in the huddle now, and then he knows in his head how much time it is. So he's probably going to snap it where there would be about 5 seconds.
Hurst. Fumble. They're saying the ball was down and Hurst was down. Green plays. This play is the 15th of this drive. 6:50. They kept the ball. Passes down the middle to Jerry Rice, and Jerry Rice gets the 49ers on the scoreboard. Touchdown, San Francisco.
Well, Jerry Rice didn't have any catches, and then he goes boom, and he gets the first down, and he comes right back to him for a touchdown.
Extra point is no good. So it's 16-6. I don't know if it's a low kick or somebody blocked it.
I don't know. It looked like Darren Sharper comes across, number 42. He's going to come across right there, and you're going to see the thing right there. I don't know if he blocked or not. I don't think so. That was just a low kick.
Yeah, just a low kick.
No, there's nothing there. Just watch the ball come out of there. No, that was a low kick plus a little shank to it too. I think that wasn't only low; it veered off to the left there. Isn't it funny how sometimes the guys who are the best players are also the guys who work the hardest?
Yeah, it is. Royal Preston. Preston is hooked by the kicker at about the 41. Just Richie just got an arm out and brought him down. Favre throwing it just up in the air and out of bounds and throwing it away. I was just going to say, we're part of that whole scene you were talking about too. We're pretty lucky.
Yeah, and it is lucky. I mean, it's lucky that, you know, and you think every week when you go out and you do a game and you hear that you're lucky to be part of this and to see these great players. I mean, you know, Jerry Rice and Steve Young on one team. Brett Favre has been the MVP of the league the last 3 years, and kind of what football in the NFL is all about when you do it right here, I think.
This is some scene. That's Travis Jerdy, and Jerdy to midfield. His longest run of the year has been 16 yards, despite all the speed he has. That's Schrader being checked over on the sideline. They're very thin at wide receiver anyway.
Yeah, they already lost Derek Mays, who was their 3rd wide receiver. That's Bill Schrader there, who was the 4th wide receiver. And then when they lost Mays, Schrader became the 3rd wide receiver. One thing that they can do is they can use Tyrone Davis, who's a 3rd tight end, as a wide receiver, and they're doing that now.
Barbara Brooks. Brooks ducked his head and got close to a first down. And it looks from here as if he got it. 16-6, Green Bay leads.
So what they did to give you that 3 wide receiver look that we just saw in that last formation there, the guy that is in the slot is Tyrone Davis. You see right here, he's a tight end who used to be a wide receiver. Went to the University of Virginia. He was a wide receiver there. They made him a tight end. So when they need a 3rd wide receiver, they can give you that look and it looks like a receiver.
Derby and Henderson, and Derby comes in motion. Barr outside. Freeman to the San Francisco 40. Brought down by Lee Woodall.
They were talking about Travis Jervey. He's from the Citadel, and he wasn't going to be the starter, of course. I mean, he was in the Pro Bowl last year as a special teams guy. Started out, he was a third running back. Dorsey Levens, of course, was the #1 running back, was out with an injury, and they got Raymond Harris and the Chicago Bears, who they thought would do the job and didn't. And so Travis Jervey becomes their starter.
And Jervey hits into the middle and is thrown right back by Bryant Young.
Ford. Watch out! Here comes the dynamite.
Travis Jervey. Hard to the outside. Marquez Pope up to make the stop.
Remember last week when we were talking to Robert Smith of the Minnesota Vikings, who has great speed, and he said it's not his speed, it's his vision. And he said that's the #1 thing he has, his vision, and that's the #1 thing that Jervey lacks. Travis Jervey has great speed, but for a running back, he doesn't have great feel or vision.
Just been informed that the play clock is working again. It's been out for about a half quarter. Sean Landetta back to punt.
Sean Landetta, he of the single bar.
High kick that's going to sail into the end zone. Maybe not. That takes a sideways bounce, and the Packers down it at about the 2-yard line. Jeff Thomason is down. Landetta just does his job. The starting field position, their own 22. This time they're back at their own 2 as Steve Young goes deep. Incomplete. Intended for Owens. And let's have a look at the first quarter statistics. Rushing, not much for either. We expected that. Passing yardage.
Look at that. Yeah, for the Green Bay Packers. And then we talked about, turnovers, that one turnover. And then they also had that snap that you could say was a turnover that went over Roby's head and became a safety.
2nd and 10. Hurst. Fighting for extra yardage. Taken down by George Kuntz, but Garrison Hurst got close to a first down.
You see big old Kevin Gogan down there. That's one thing that he does. They say he's a dirty player, but one thing that he does is he follows his back. When his back breaks through, he follows him downfield to make sure that nothing happens around the pile, that no one is going to pile on. Here's Gogi. So he's going to block his guy, make the hole. Now watch 66 come down here. See? He's still down there checking who's trying to get in on that pile, and he's going to be in on that pile.
Hurst bounces across the 15 out to about the 16. Bernardo Harris made the stop. Someone said Gogan was a dirty player.
Well, yeah, it was. In fact, on Sports Illustrated, he was the picture. He was
that's right, on the cover.
Was the cover boy. Yeah, and in fact, he took a picture. I gave him a little stuff about it yesterday because he took a picture with a model. That was a posed picture with a male model.
The leg he was biting?
Yeah, with a male model. And you can't be big old Gogan and play in the pits and posing for pictures.
Steve Young scrambling, chase, and down he goes. That's Brian Williams who caught him.
Yeah, and that's why you always need speed on your defense. And Brian Williams is one of the speed guys on this Packer defense. And when you get a quarterback that is going to be a running quarterback, you need someone that can chase him down. And number 51 right here is Brian Williams. See, when he starts to run, you need that speed. That's what Lawrence Taylor used to do.
Yeah.
He used to have that speed that he would come and rush you, and then if the quarterback tried to run or scramble, he could run faster than the quarterback could run. And that's what Brian Williams did on that play.
3rd and 12. There's Young back in the pocket. Comes out of the pocket. Is going to run, but is going to be well short of the first down, and the 49ers will have to punt.
Reggie White got caught inside. We talked to him yesterday about that, and he said, you don't want to get way up the field on Steve Young because he'll run back to your side inside you. I think Reggie said he got caught inside. He's probably saying he got held, too, because Steve Young is going to come out to this side. He's working against Derek Zeese there. No, he didn't get held. He just got double teamed.
Yeah.
That was Kirby over there picking him, Terry Kirby.
Roby, the punt it. And Preston to handle it. Roll. Preston's got some room. To the 30 and a flag on the play.
So far in this first half, the Packers have taken it to the 49ers in every area that you can, offensively, defensively, and special teams. This one's going to come back 15 yards. Come back 10 yards from the spot is what it's going to come back. They have to figure out where the spot is.
Johnny Greer, the referee.
Holding number 56 during the return.
That's Lamont Hollenquist, who is an excellent special teams player. Freeman is the intended receiver. Flag on the play. 2 flags on the play. Marcus Pope was running with Freeman.
And they're saying it's against Marquez Pope, too. This is one of the things that you always wonder about. You know, there's a lot of contact on a deep ball, and sometimes you wonder why teams don't throw more deep balls.
Number 23, defense. First down.
Marquez Pope is a very physical corner, so you know you're going to have contact, but it can only be in the first 5 yards. He's looking into Freeman's eyes. You see he puts his hand up there, his left hand, and he had it up there all the way.
Got his arm locked around Freeman's arm.
Yeah, usually what you do when you're looking into him, you look at his eyes, and you wait a couple of beats after he looks up, because the ball isn't going to be there when he looks up. It's shortly after.
Derby knocked backwards at the 10 by Junior Bryant. First and goal at the 10.
You get the feeling that every time Travis Jerby runs in there, it's like he's running into a wall.
Yeah.
That he doesn't have any feel at all. And that time there, he just ran right into Junior Bryant, who's, you know, they lost Dana Stubblefield, and Junior Bryant took his place and plays along there with Bryant Young. And he's doing a pretty good job. But here's the guy that's the guy.
2 tight ends set up. Barr to throw it, blitz coming. Barr gets rid of it. And the pass is caught at about the 2-yard line by Tyrone Davis. What a play by Favre and catch by Davis.
You know, and that's what all the 49ers were talking about. You know, when you said, what is it like to rush Brett Favre? What do you have to do? And he said, Bryant Young was saying, you know, he's so strong that you have to remember that just by hitting him, that doesn't mean you have him. I mean, that pass there, he was hit, he was going down. Roy Barker, number 92, was there, and he threw it right past Roy Barker into Tyrone Davis.
That is a heck of a throw and catch. Raymond Harris, here's Favre rolling right and throwing in the end zone. Touchdown. Jeff Thomason finally got open a flag on the play.
Yeah, those are the things that Brett Favre does. I mean, he does it with his strength on the play you saw before. He does it with his feet just by moving. He's not a big runner.
Raymond Harris, the lone setback. Favre got the ball to Harris, who's tripped up at about the 8. 6 yards away. Longwell hits. 19-6.
Talk about Bill Schrader being the 3rd wide receiver. He's also the 3rd quarterback for the Packers today.
McWater taken down at the 30 by Jeff Thomason.
Yeah, we've got these guys again on this Packer defense.
Young gets it off. First down out to Jerry Rice. Pickup of about 7. Tyrone Millions made the stop. Right down for an NFL update. Let's return to James Brown in Los Angeles.
Hey, Pat, Atlanta Falcons looked impressive today, especially Jamal Anderson. 172 yards on the ground, 3 touchdowns today. Atlanta wins, stays right on the heels of San Francisco. Of course, San Francisco lost, and they will be knotted up. Let's take it back to Pat Summerall and John Madden.
We're back at Lambeau Field. Rice was the man in motion. 2nd and 2. Hurst just does get back to the line of scrimmage. Tyrone Williams.
That was a good point that JB just made, Pat. We talked about the Packers and how they were watching Minnesota, and they didn't want Minnesota to get too far out in front. But the 49ers don't have a free ride here with the Atlanta Falcons.
There. Atlanta's already won. Dan Reeves has done a heck of a job with those Falcons, hasn't he?
Yeah, I've always had the highest respect for Dan Reeves. I think that wherever he's been, he's done a good job, and he's kind of a coach's coach and a man's man.
Rice. Sharper dragged him backwards.
It's going to be interesting where they spotted. Sharper tried to bring him backwards, but he didn't. Watch what Jerry Rice does. He's going to get the ball here. Now watch where the first down marker is right here. Jerry Rice knows it. He keeps going, and he gets that ball down beyond the first marker, so he gets the first down for the 49ers.
With that extra lunge.
And that's what comes with being a great player, but also playing in this league for 14 years.
Steve Young back to throw. J.J. Stokes makes the reception. That should be enough for another 49er first down.
And you can feel the 49ers starting to get into a little rhythm here. And again, here's where your rhythm starts, with the blocking right here in the middle, so that Steve Young is going to take a short drop, and his whole thing is on timing. And you got to keep this guy in the middle on the line of scrimmage. Now, if you can do that, then he can see and he can step up and throw. That's where it all starts. Don't let any of these guys in here get any penetration on your quarterback.
Young back again. And he's tripped up by Reggie White as he started to scramble.
And he knew Reggie White would be there. Did you see him as he started to scramble? He looked to his right. Steve Young usually just takes off, but that time, I think he knew Reggie White was there. I mean, anytime you take a great player like Reggie White, you know he's going to be there anyway. Steve Young waited, couldn't see anything open, and then he starts to scramble. But just watch him right here when he started to scramble. He looked right at Reggie White, and Reggie White, lo and behold, was looking right at him.
He didn't disappoint him, did he?
He knew he'd be there, and he was.
Young to throw. Screen pass to Edwards. Picked up about 6.
Edwards on the screen. In the NFL forever, when you get pressure, the two things you've always done is run a draw or a screen.
Yep.
That's what the 49ers do. There used to be some teams that would always do that. I remember when Hank Stram was coaching, and anytime you would get a sack or get pressure on him, the very next play would be a screen pass. And that's what that was there, just to try and slow down the pressure, slow down a Reggie White, slow down a Bonnie Holiday, just throw a screen pass.
Young back to throw. Gets the ball to Rice. Rice to the 30. Jerry Rice.
I tell you, that was a pretty good block by Garrison Hurst. I don't understand why they do that, but, they said to Garrison Hurst, you have to block Reggie White on this play, and we're throwing the ball to the side that you're blocking. And Garrison Hurst took on Reggie White. Reggie White tried to jump over him, but he didn't get over him. And that's how that ball was completed.
That seems like an unfair design of a play.
I don't know where that comes from.
Take the end around. They throw the screen pass to Hurst, and Hurst breaks out of the pack. Garrison Hurst to the Packer 10. Stopped by George Coons. Jerry Rice has 5 catches for 37 yards. They'll move the sticks again for this 49er first down.
Well, you know, Hurst really deserves this because he was the guy that got the other play when he blocked Reggie White. And then on one play before, he was making a block. Then he comes back on this play and is a receiver for the first down.
At the 10, first and goal, at just outside the 10. Young back to throw it. Fires in the middle, incomplete. Jerry Rice is waiting.
Oh, he talked him into it.
He did.
Leroy Butler was on Jerry.
Look where they put the ball. 5 yards is all. Edwards close to the goal line.
I think you can feel that the 49ers are starting to get more comfortable. The offensive line is doing a better job of blocking. They're getting some mixture here. This one here, they don't give a lot to the fullback. See, it's a little counter. They put Garrison Hurst away, and you know, because everyone thinks Garrison Hurst, the halfback, will carry the ball. He goes to the right, and then they just counter back with Mark Edwards, their fullback.
At the 1, second and goal. Young going to roll into the end zone, and the 49ers tack some more points on the board.
And that's what Fritz Shermer said. That's the edge. That's where, if Steve Young is going, he was a contained guy.
Well, it's Steve Young's 41st career rushing touchdown. That's the all-time record for most touchdowns by a quarterback, which has been central on Fox. This is Preston out of bounds.
A fullback coming towards you, and then the quarterback, but the quarterback's the guy.
Five intended for Mark Chimura, who just signed a new contract, but wasn't quite tall enough to handle that one.
And we talked about Bryant Young, you know, and being such a good player. And anytime you're a good player or a dominant player like Bryant Young and you play in the middle, you're always going to have 2 guys blocking you. I mean, number 97 draws a crowd. You see Frankie Winters there, the center? He stays square, but kept that right hand out there to help his right guard, Adam Timmerman.
Looked like it was stuck in there, that right hand.
Well, bag of donuts will kind of get stuck in there sometimes.
Derby close to a first down. Ken Norton.
You know, the 49ers in this game so far have 12 first downs, and the Packers only have 4 first downs, but they got the big plays. Now, here again, they're going to get outside. You see what happens? Chris Dolman jumps to the inside.
Yep.
Chris Dolman, when he goes to the inside, then the left tackle, Ross Burbott, takes him where he's going, and that was one that Travis Jervey did see.
He saw it. Felt it.
I think he saw it right away when Dolman jumped to the inside.
Yep.
You could see that there was no one out there.
Here comes the 49er blitz. Favre somehow got rid of it.
That was an overload. That was one of John Marshall's, what he calls pressure defenses, and he overloaded the left defense or the right offensive side, and he had to have a free guy there.
That was Corey Bradford who made that reception, number 85. Rookie wide receiver.
Brett Favre is looking, and he's giving someone emotion here with his mouth. And this is the side that the blitz is coming to. He moved his back to the other side, and they brought the blitz from the other side.
That's Freeman. And Freeman gets to the 49er 45, stopped by Marquez Pope. He leads San Francisco. Favre looks left, throws right. And the pass is caught by Freeman.
You know, the thing that a quarterback has to do is to be able to get up and to see and to read, but you have your stuff you do before the ball is snapped. Listen to Brett Favre here.
I don't know what that means.
I have no idea. It had to be. I mean, the 27-4. The 27-4 can be the audible.
Yep. Derby. Travis Derby bounces all the way down inside the 30 to the 27. Stopped by Zach Bronson. That might be the longest run of his career in regular season.
I think somewhere he had a 16-yarder, didn't he? But he hasn't had a lot of long ones. And again, you can see that if he ever gets that vision thing, because you know that if he gets outside and gets there, he can break away with his speed, but sometimes he does everything too quickly, and he has to have a little patience. Defensive coordinators and guys become hosts. But the thing that they've had is they've had great quarterbacks for all those years. First of all, Joe Montana, then when he was finished, Steve Young.
McWaters returning the kick, comes out of the pack, chased by Longwell, stepped out of bounds in front of the Packer bench, but a good return by the 49ers' #1 draft choice.
5-yard return. That's a pretty good start.
Gives them great field position. And Young is trying to take advantage of it as he gets it out to Greg Clark. The tight end, Kuntz, made the stop. And let's look at first half statistics.
Well, you can see that, you know, that running is not going to be a big part of what either team does, but they have to get enough of it just to get the passing, because that's what it's going to be about. The 49ers had more first down, but of course the Packers, had that one turnover and then that 7 points off the turnover, and of course they got the safety by that bad snap that went through Reggie Rose's hands.
Those two things are the difference. 19-13. The pass caught by Owens. He's cut down quickly.
The other thing is because they had the safety, they had 2 points, and then if you add the 1 point where they missed the extra point, or had the extra point block, then that's 3 points. So that's like giving the Green Bay Packers a field goal.
Third and about 4.5. 19-13, Packers leading. San Francisco at the Green Bay 39-yard line.
These are the situations where Steve Young is really tough.
Yep. Well, that great mobility he has. He's going to use some of it right now. Chased by Reggie White. The ball deflected by Keith McKenzie.
What a year Reggie White is having. If it's his last year, we talked to him the other day and he said, no matter what happens, this is going to be my last year. He can still make all the moves and do all the things and run like he used to. I mean, those were some great athletic moves. I mean, he started, he jumps over a guy, he chases a guy. Steve Young didn't gain anything on him. And, Reggie White has been one of the best for a long time in this league.
Not just a player. Reggie Roby, punt, sails to the end zone, way back into the end zone and out. Zone 20. Favre. Derby a yard. Passing by zone, John. What is this?
And when we get through with all this stuff, we'll show. You see what it is? It just shows how many deep passes they threw. Brett Favre in the first half threw 3 passes over 15 yards. One was a touchdown here to Freeman. This was a touchdown to Brooks. Everything else that he threw was under 15 yards. And I think some of that deep stuff is there for him.
Derby. And Travis Derby gets the first down. Did you look at Brett Favre then? See what he did?
Yeah. I watched him in practice the other day, and he just starts out in practice, but he was doing basketball shots. I mean, he would hand off, then do a basketball shot, like a jump shot.
Yeah.
Then he did a behind-the-head dunk.
Well, that's what he did then.
I know. But he was practicing that Friday, adding, instead of football moves, he was adding basketball moves.
Well, they're on strike. Maybe he wants to do some of that. Blitz coming. Favre gets it out of there, incomplete. Intended for Freeman.
Talking about them being on strike, the Milwaukee Bucks' new head coach was in the up here before the game. He was in the box. George Karl and his wife, along with Rick Majerus, the coach from Utah. They came and ate a bunch of our brats. I had a case of brats here before the game. Guy gave me a case of brats. I get a year's supply, a case a month, and in a case is 12 dozen. So we had out there in front 144 brats. And you know what? When the game started, we only had 30 left.
I was going to say, we've taken care of a bunch of them.
But I think it was Majerus and Karl.
Majerus, yeah.
I think they ate like 100 of them.
Here's Favre, and this time has time. Screen pass to Derby. And up to about the 34.
This is what else some crowd in and have brats for everyone. That was a pregame meal.
Throwing deep for Brooks. And the pass is intercepted and no flag. Zach Bronson with the interception gets back to the Green Bay 35. Adam Timmerman made the stop.
Oh, and that was close. That was close on Marquez Pope, not on Bronson. Bronson, that was a too deep. Bronson was just waiting back there. Marquez Pope, again, a physical guy. Watch Pope. He's right here, and watch how he can be physical, and he's going to stay underneath. And you see Bronson is going to come over the top right there. I think it was R.W. McQuarters.
Yep.
Who it was. If there was any interference, it was on McQuarters.
Terrence call.
Yeah, on R.W. McQuarters,
Yep.
though, not on Bronson.
That's Garrison Hurst, the ball carrier, to the Green Bay 30.
This is what happens to a quarterback after he throws an incompletion or an interception, I mean, and he becomes a defender. And then when he's a defender, those guys are going to go after him. Now, Dolman was an offender. I mean, he becomes an offender, and he's going to go offend the quarterback.
Hurst to the secondary, to the 10. Hurst is going to score, and the 49ers have a chance to take the lead. And the extra point is blown again. The holder throws incomplete. Ty Detmer was the holder. Throwing it, Chad Fan incomplete. And that's 2 extra points the 49ers have botched.
Yeah, and you think of the punt snap that went through Reggie Roby's hand.
Yep.
You get this snap here was a little high, but he does get the ball down. But when he gets it down, it just slipped out of his hand.
Yep. Safety. The ball slipped through the punter's hand. 2 missed extra points. One was a low kick. One was just dropped by Ty Detmer. He tried to put the ball down.
All those special teams miscues.
Certainly were. Roel Preston, and right now for an NFL update, let's return to James Brown, and especially on the Packer side of the field. Here's Favre back to throw it. Gets the pass complete down to Chimura, who shakes one tackler and picks up an extra 5.
Yeah, and that was the first pass that he threw to his tight end, Mark Chimura. You know, you thought that he was going to be a bigger part of that today, and you just see him right down here. He just starts out, and he just hooks right on the hash mark. So Brett Favre knows where he's going to be. He's just going to be right there in the hash mark. He just goes back and just, boom, just hits the tight end right there.
Got a first down up to the 48-yard line.
Ross Burley, the second-year left tackle, doing a pretty good job over there today on Chris Dolman.
2 tight ends set up. Raymond Harris was the setback. Favre fires, and the pass is intercepted again by the 49ers. Tim McDonald. Not again by McDonald, but again by the 49ers.
Yeah, Brett Favre is getting in a funk now. He had that one to Lee Woodall just before the halftime. Then they come out after that, and he throws to Zach Bronson an interception, and then he comes right back and gives one to Tim McDonald. Or Tim
6 passes have been intercepted. This is Hurst. Well, the 49ers gets about 3 yards down to the 46.
Well, and I think that's the point of not having a running game. And it's not only that it puts the pressure on the quarterback, but it puts the pressure on the whole passing game, on the line to block and on the receivers to get open. And this momentum started to change towards the 49ers just before the half on Lee Woodall's interception.
That's exactly right. Here's Jerry Rice in motion on second down. Steve Young looks upfield and throws complete to Edwards, Mark Edwards. Hit by Bernardo Harris. Didn't get a first down. Picked up about 3.
You know, that's the thing. This 49er West Coast offense has always been where the fullback has been a part of it.
Yep.
You know, I mean, going back to the, Roger Craig, Tom Rathman, and the fullback has had to be a receiver. I mean, it's not a big tight end offense, but it's a big wide receiver. Now this year, more 3 wide receivers, but the fullback is also a part as a receiver.
3rd and 4. Here's Young. Gets it outside to Owens. He gets out of bounds, but I think he got the first down. He's close to it.
But Terrell Owens is a big, strong guy, and if he knows where that first down marker is, that's the advantage that they have. I mean, they have the advantage of being able to do a jump ball, but they also have an advantage after they catch the ball. After they catch the ball, of being able to get the first down. You see right here, he catches, he's a little short, but he's strong enough just to run right through a tackle to a point.
He shoves the tackler out of the way. Terry Kirby is the deep back. Young fakes to him. He's chased and just does get rid of it. And Kirby batted it backwards. Good play by Kirby, too, not to catch it.
And Steve Young.
Young to Garrison Hurst. Bounces down to about the 32. Terry Kirby, this is, not Hurst. Kirby came back in the best shape they say he's ever been in. The best they've ever seen him.
See that they're taking Chris Dahlman out now with a sprained left knee. His return usually is questionable when they take him out on a cart.
Third and 5. Young across the middle. That's Kirby. Stopped finally by Pat Terrell.
You know, and the 49ers waived Terry Kirby in the offseason, and then he was out there as a free agent. Levy really didn't do the job, so they brought him back in this situation here to be the third down back, the pass receiver. See, Steve Young was looking downfield for his wide receiver, couldn't find anything, and came off to Terry Kirby, who has always been a good receiving back.
Steve Gordon is the center in place of Dahlman. That's Garrison Hurst for a couple. 19-19 score, 6:05 left, and Mike Holmgren looking on and wondering.
He looks to me like he's looking on in shock.
Yeah.
I think they started off, and sometimes that'll happen to you in this game. When you start off well, it looks like everything is easy. Remember the first pass, Antonio Freeman, touchdown, turnover, safety, all those things. Sometimes your team, after things being easy early, have a little letdown.
Young outside. That's J.J. Stokes. Another big, strong receiver who is down to about the 2.
And that's the thing about these big receivers that we talked about. You know that they can get a jump ball here, but when you get a corner playing that far off, why even run a pattern? Just stop, get the ball out there, and let him just run right over the smaller defender. Now, if he could have stayed in bounds, which I would try right there, try and hit and stay in bounds, that could have been a touchdown.
3rd and goal at the 2, and this is when Young becomes so dangerous with his ability to run. Looking for a quarterback draw, which just didn't take.
Reggie White says he has the ball. He's saying it was a fumble. The Packers looked like they were in the 49er huddle on that one.
Yes, they did. To attempt the field goal with Detmer holding. Richie's kick is good this time. Finally, about 100 miles from here. Used to go to all the Packer games while he was growing up. Casey Bradford. And the kick comes out, the return comes out to about the 26. That dinosaur.
Yeah, because they can move there.
Travis Jervey. Flag on the play.
Remember a couple years ago, Mike Holmgren was telling us about Travis Jervey, where they had that thing against the 7-man sled where you'd run plays into the sled and the backs run in and then they bounce outside the sled. And he said Travis Jervey was a 4-hole play, ran right into the sled. As we're blocking the sled. In all my years of coaching.
52, offense, still first down.
Frank Winters.
Here's old Frank Winters there, you know, and he does a lot of that. I mean, he's a real tricky veteran, and and tricky veterans do things like that. I mean, they get a hold, and then they try and fall down and drag the guy down with them. Didn't work on Bryant. You talk about him, being here at Lambeau Field, the Packers having a blimp and having the pregame show.
5 incomplete. Intended for William Henderson out of the backfield.
You know, whatever it was, the Packers got off to such a good start, and then they don't have it now. And I think part of it is this 49er defense. They've gotten very aggressive. Watch Tim McDonald here. I mean, he's a guy that likes to play close to the line of scrimmage, but always has been a real hitting safety. And anything that moves anywhere. In the secondary, at the line of scrimmage in the backfield, Tim McDonald is going to zero in on the hit.
5 drops. Kichimura. Picked up about 5. Ken Norton took him down.
You know, we talk about Leroy Butler, Pat, and how good a player he is on the Green Bay Packers, and I think that Tim McDonald is that same guy for the 49ers.
Just going to say, earlier, you remember, well, here's some more aggression by McDonald.
Yeah, I mean, he's just all over the place. I mean, he plays zone and he keeps everything in front of him, and then that stuff that he keeps in front of him, he goes and hits.
Remember, you were talking about early in the game how aggressive the Packers were. Now it's the 49ers.
And I think that's exactly it. I think the Packer defense was aggressive on the 49ers, and now the 49er defense is going after the Packers.
5 incomplete in the direction of Antonio Freeman. Flipped off the inside of his foot. Waters will take it at the 28. Cuts it back outside and steps out of bounds at the 40.
49ers, dinosaurs.
Hurting. Finally knocked out of bounds by Sharper.
You see the guy that was patting him on the back there is Bob McKittrick, the offensive line coach of the 49ers right there. One of the best. And he's the guy that is not only the line coach, but he's responsible for the running game. And he loves to do this. You know, pull his guard. You see big old Gogan there?
Yep.
He makes that block right at the point of attack. And Hurst gets right in behind big old Gogan and breaks off him. That's the kind of offensive line that Bob McKittrick coaches, to make those kinds of moves and have that kind of coordination.
And get that kind of gain, 20 yards by Hurst. And here's Hurst again. Not much this time. Knocked out of bounds at the Packers 39 by Brian Williams.
You know, somewhere you'd think with these wide receivers that the 49ers have that they'd take a shot long. Their longest completion so far has been 12 yards. And you'd think somewhere with Jerry Rice or J.J. Stokes or Terrell Owens that they would take a shot deep, because if there's anything that the Packers have been vulnerable for a number of areas, but the one area is Tyrone Williams, their right corner. You know, people have been throwing deep over on that left side.
2nd and 9. Pass complete to J.J. Stokes, who dragged the Packer defender for a first down. Tyrone Williams.
Yeah, and that's who, you know, they've been working on, and they've been working on him deep, and maybe that's why he's off so much, because you see Tyrone Williams is so far off, he's not going to give you the deep one now. But in not giving you the deep one, he's giving you everything in front, and he's giving you first down, so you can methodically work the ball down the field.
Which is what they've done since they took over the momentum and took over the aggression. Young's 18 out of 26. Pump fake going deep. Incomplete. J.J. Stokes had it for a moment and lost it.
And that was the deep one that I was just talking about, and I think by going in front of him, they thought that they could suck him up to get him up, but he's still off. You see, he's not only off, but he's backing off even more. And then they tried to run that slant and go on Tyree, and he was...
Gets to Jervy, and Jervy gets about 3 yards. Lost World, don't forget, coming up tonight at 7/6 Central here on Fox. Several times we've almost lost the Fox box to those dinosaurs taking big bites out of it. But that's all coming up tonight. Lost World.
I think that dinosaur took a big bite out of Mike Holmes's play chart there. In the second half, he hasn't come up with a lot of good ones.
2nd and 7. Far to throw it. Pass caught by Brooks.
But he put the mustard on that one. If there's such a thing as...
Niners lead. That's Travis Jervey breaking a tackle and getting a Packer first down across the 30. That's his most impressive run. Not the longest, but most impressive.
Yeah, because, we talk about Travis Jervey and having the speed, not a lot of vision, but he is also a very strong guy.
Yeah.
In fact, in one of those muscle books, they had some kind of contest, and they had him as the #1 muscle guy or the best body in the NFL, for whatever that's worth. There's some things you have in your head sometimes you shouldn't know, and you wonder how you know those things.
That's Jervey again who gets the carry down to about the 25, 24-yard line. Norton on the stop.
There was there for a while where Mike Holmgren wouldn't play Travis Jervey because he fumbled so much.
Yeah. Now he doesn't fumble.
Yeah, I think he drove him crazy, too. Travis Jervey's he's a surfer, and that kind of mentality doesn't go with Mike Holmgren. When we were here for the preseason game, remember, he had his hair bleached.
Yeah.
And he got a bad bleach job because they don't know how to bleach guys' hair here in Green Bay.
Favre is going to take off himself down to just inside the 22. It's going to be third.
I'll say this, that this 49er defense has really been playing crisp. When we talk about how they were aggressive, but they're crisp and they're sharp, and they're just swarming everything. Chris Dolman was the first guy there, and he just stuck with it, and he got far. That knocks out the rhythm. See, right now there's no rhythm. There was almost no neck or head either on Brett Favre.
No football.
I know, but that throws it out of rhythm, and now anything can happen.
3rd and 6. Favre to throw. Incomplete. And no flag. Freeman was the intended receiver. And Favre thought there should have been interference again.
This is Darnell Walker there. He's on Bradford there, see, and he starts to get a jump, and they thought that he tackled him before the ball got there. I think that he tackled him before the ball got there. I think that Darnell Walker dodged a bullet right there.
Ryan Longwell back to attempt this field goal, and it's going to be good. Departed.
I'm sure they're not going to depart here either.
Nope.
This is a great combination. When you have a game here, it's like half pro game and a half college game. Had the Wisconsin marching band at halftime.
McWaters returns the short kickoff to the 32-yard line.
Like when you don't have any experience and you don't really know how to play this game at quarterback, everything is so fast, everything looks like a blur. So then as you get experience, everything slows down for you, and that's the way the game is for him now.
And a handoff is straight ahead to Edwards, who gets up to the 35. But when the game starts to slow down, as he was talking about, you'd like to still be healthy enough to be able to continue to play it.
That's what he says. You have a window. There's a part when you're young, you don't know how to play the game, and then you get where you know how to play the game before you get too old or too hurt to do it. There's a window there where you can do it well, and he's in that window right now.
Sure is. Here comes the blitz. The fumble. The ball's loose. And the 49ers, I believe, got it back.
And the guy that blitzed Butler, Roy Butler.
Yep.
Steve Young says, I got to know where he is on every play. We have to account for him. And I'll tell you, he came from Steve Young's side. Watch, here's the Roy Butler up here. You can see him. Steve Young has to know where he is, but Steve Young is looking the other way. So that really becomes his backside. He's a left-hander. He sees, but when he turns to his right, watch him. He looks out here right now. He sees Butler, but they don't do anything about it in pass protection. No one blocks Roy Butler. And Steve Young is looking to his right, and that ball is knocked out of there.
Young drops again. Screen pass coming. It's pretty well set to Kirby, and he is taken down on a fine play.
I think they...
Reggie Roby back deep to punt. Royal Preston handles it. and scoots up the sideline to about the 38 before he goes out of bounds, and that's where the Packers will take it over. With 11:13 left to play, if we could see. But after all, it's November, and we're in Green Bay, and it's supposed to be cold.
Yeah, and if it weren't cold, it wouldn't be Green Bay, and it wouldn't be football.
And football, indeed, 22-22.
This is great hitting weather.
Raymond Harris is the deep back as Favre drops, has time. Off to the races is Antonio Freeman, touchdown.
I was just thinking they have to get back to Antonio Freeman. Antonio Freeman had caught 6 passes for 131 yards, and it was all in the first half.
And that one adds 62 yards to it.
The first pass of the game was a touchdown to Antonio Freeman. They'd forgotten about Antonio Freeman this half, and then they come back. Here he is right here. And you just see, he's just starting out on a go. He makes a little out move, and then he just runs right by Marquez Post.
Yep. Who had no help. The extra point by Longwell is good. And it's around Lambeau Field. Second down. This is R.W. McWaters. Flag on the play as McWaters is taken down.
You know, it's funny how defense can change momentum. We talked about how the 49ers got it back with Lee Woodall's interception, and then how the Packers got it back with Leroy Butler's hit on Steve Young. It just changed the whole momentum back to the Packers, and then Brett Favre hits Freeman.
Illegal blocking him back. Join the return. Number 30 of the receiving team.
But the free safety got to be over there to help him. And again, I think he took a bad angle on both those touchdowns.
First down at about the 7-yard line. And Steve Young back to throw it, gets it to Jerry Rice. Rice out to the 19 for a first down, stopped by Bernardo Harris. Today's game being brought to you by, produced by, I should say, Bob Stinner and directed by Sandy Grossman. The Associate Director, Mike Royd, broadcast associates are Fran Morrison and Charles McDonald. The technical producer is Bob Muller. And I'll get to the rest of it in just a moment. First down, San Francisco. And here's Steve Young. And there is Steve Young down by Bonnie Holiday.
I'll tell you, that was great coverage out here, Pat, by Rod Smith. We talked about Rod Smith. He's a right corner, and that's the area that he's trying to go to. Watch Steve Young here. You see, he's trying to come out to this side. You see, in fact, he pumped and he threw it, and then Bonnie Holiday got there. Now, how did Bonnie Holiday get there? Watch Rod Smith right here. See, this is where he wants to throw. He comes up, he jams, he jumps inside. He gets between Steve Young and the receiver, and that's how Bonnie Holiday got that sack.
Second and 15, 2 tight end setup for San Francisco. And Steve Young back to throw. Sprints to his left. Throws back across the field. Knocked down by Craig Newsom.
And that's one of the first times that they've tried to throw the ball on Craig Newsom, and it was a different way. Here we see the right side. Steve Young, while this is going on, is rolling to the left side. You see, and they tried to lull Newsom to sleep by making him think he was going across, and he just stayed with Terrell Owens perfectly. Watch how he just gets his hand in there right there and knocks it off.
Good recovery by Newsom.
Because he was watching Steve Young, who was rolling the other way.
3 wide receivers this time. Third and about 14 yards necessary. Young lost the ball, and the Packers have it. Santana Dotson came up with the ball. They put the heat on Steve Young. He lost control of the ball.
And that's that same edge. That heat came from that same edge that Fritz Sherman was talking about. That's the edge that you have to work, because that's where they got in their sacks today. And Steve Young is going to run to that side, but it comes right here. You see Keith McKenzie, he just starts out, he just runs right by Jamie Brown, sticks his left hand in there, and knocks the ball out. Watch Keith McKenzie. He's going to come here. Now watch, he sticks his hand up. The ball was out before Keith McKenzie's hand got
He
there.
just dropped it.
Yeah.
Santana Dotson.
He felt McKenzie coming off of that edge.
Yep. Travis Jervey. Jervey, touchdown.
He'll do something crazy.
There he goes. He may not come back, knowing him.
He was enjoying that way too much.
Extra point by Longwell is good. That's the first Steve Jervey, Travis Jervey touchdown in the NFL. He is proud.
When they took over that defensive aggressive, that toughness, all those types of things, when they took it over again, was on that hit.
Line drive kickoff. Going to be handled by one of the up men. I think that's Chad Fan. Herb Smith, beg your pardon. Look at this fumble again.
Yeah, well, here's how it all started. Keith McKenzie, William Henderson gave him a pretty good lead to get a soft corner over there.
Young out of the pocket, taken down by McKenzie. Continuing with those who are responsible for bringing you this game, along with John and me, technical producers Bob Muller, technical director Joe Benda, audio supervisor Fred Aldis, studio produced by Scott Ackerson as they go back to work in a hurry. Vaughn Booker made the stop.
Vaughn Booker is the guy that comes in for Reggie White, and Reggie says that he feels so good about Vaughn Booker because he knows when he comes in and he feels comfortable that he can play as well as Reggie's playing now. And on that sack there, he looked like it.
Yeah.
Vaughn Booker, they got in a trade from Kansas City.
Most in his career, 8 times.
Well, that was the Green Bay Packer objective today, was to put Steve Young on his back, and they started going after him from the get-go.
Here's Steve Young, and here's Reggie White. And Santana Dotson, but Reggie was first.
Hey, Steve Young is getting beaten up here. Reggie White, because Vaughn Booker can come in, they can rest Reggie White, and there's that club move.
Yep.
That's that move that Derek Deese was saying, I don't want to be clubbed, I have to be patient. Maybe he hadn't been clubbed all the time, but he got clubbed on that last play by Reggie White.
And the 49ers back in front formation is Reggie Roby.
Most right tackles in this league will be clubbed by Reggie White.
Roel Preston back to about the 40. Jervey. And for those of you tuning in to see the premiere of The Lost World, it will immediately follow our coverage of the NFL on Fox. For those of you out west, Lost World will air at 7 p.m. Pacific. Just sort of bring you up to date, Brett Favre has had 3 passes intercepted. His first, however, was about an 80-yard touchdown completion to Antonio Freeman. And right now he's got things back on track.
He also just broke Bart Starr's all-time passing record today.
That's Raymond Harris, who maybe gets a yard. Maybe not.
And one thing about Brett Favre, he's such a competitor, you know, that he does have those three interceptions, but he just...
Favre drops the throw. 49ers are blitzing, incomplete. Antonio Freeman, the target. And the last Packer touchdown by Travis Jervey, his first in the NFL.
Again, Merton Hanks is having a tough day. I mean, he's taking some bad angles, missed a tackle there. Travis Jervey gets his first touchdown in the NFL, like you say, and then he goes and does a Lambeau leap. stayed in there a little longer than most.
Yep, he did. I thought we might not get him back. Landetta's punt bounces out of bounds at about the 12.
About it
at the age of 77. Isn't that amazing?
in the Major League is a pretty good place to live.
Young throws to Rice, to Hurst, beg your pardon. Best seat in the house today and tonight is inside the Bud Bunn airship. The aerial ambassador of the King of Beers. High up over Lambeau Field. Pass incomplete in the direction of Jerry Rice.
Yeah, you were talking about all the, where Steve Young, played with Mike Holmgren when he was the coordinator. Mariucci was an assistant to Holmgren. He's from this area. And the other thing is Mike Holmgren was a coach at BYU. He was Steve Young's quarterback coach at BYU. And in the first game that he was a quarterback coach and Steve Young was a starter, Steve Young threw 6 interceptions against Georgia. And Mike Holmgren told him, he said, I think you're going to get benched and I'm going to get fired.
Young is chased out of the pocket and chased. And the pass drops to the grass harmlessly.
Steve Young is doing more and more of that this year, and I think that's saving him. What the rule in the National Football League is if you're outside the tight end box, outside where the normal tight end would line up, you can legally throw the ball away. If you're inside...
Way back when he started this, it started in the NFL, he had a deal with the watch company. Flag on the play. There's Raymond Harris. Nothing doing.
You think of the difference today, how the Packers started out, and they had complete command and looked like they were going to run away with the game, and then the 49ers came back and looked like they had control and they were going to win it.
They got ahead.
Then the Packers took control, and then it's been like 3 different games, hasn't it?
It really has. Chris Dahlman is on the crutches. 2nd and 7. Less than 5 minutes left to play now. As Raymond Harris goes straight ahead and picks up about 3.
I'll tell you, when those guys run inside these Green Bay backs, I mean, they've found some stuff in there, but they've really taken a lot of big hits, too.
Yep.
Can you believe a cow jumped over the moon?
I never bought that one. Harris swerves down. So the Packers will have to punt. Didn't get enough for first down. But
I mean, they come here. They're going to make a memory. They're making a memory here. They're enjoying everything that's going on right now.
McWaters takes it out of bounds at about the 29th. There's Green Bay's next 5 at Pittsburgh. The Steelers lost today. At the Giants. The Giants lost today. At Minnesota. Minnesota lost today.
And I think that's the big one for them. I mean, that's why this game will feel pretty good about themselves after this game if they win.
Steve Young back to throw it. And does throw it to Jerry Rice. Out of bounds. San Francisco.
I think San Francisco has a little easier road here.
Well, it looked like it, but you never know the way things are going.
Well, I mean, they have to play well, but, I mean, the only team there that, seems to be playing well is Atlanta.
Yeah.
Atlanta wins today, but Carolina won, but they've only won 1 game all year. They play them twice, the Giants. I mean, there's not a lot of strength there that, to me, should worry the 49ers.
It's Owens in motion, and Young back to throw. And he gets it to Owens. And he's cut down immediately. Rod Smith. He didn't play like that at Carolina. We saw it twice.
I'll tell you, and Keith McKenzie, I don't know that he's played like he's playing today either, because he's really putting on a rush from this right side. We talked about this edge and this side and the things that had to be done here. Keith McKenzie is really doing it.
On 2nd down, Young fires to Owens, got the first down, and Owens fighting is knocked backwards to the 40. They'll give him his progress stopped by Craig Newsom.
I think somewhere the 49ers are going to have to throw one deep.
On third down, they got to have time if they're going to do that. There's the one you wanted deep. That's to Terrell Owens. And he gets down to the 10. A big, strong guy he is. Steve Young said, hurry, but there's a flag on the play.
That's my share. Oh, that's part. I mean, you know, Brats and football and Packers and Lambeau Field and Vince Lombardi, it kind of all goes together.
Young. Pass is incomplete, intended for Jerry Rice. Reggie White coming back on the field.
Yeah, and this is the situation that Reggie White loves, too. You know, I mean, when you get a team and then this is going to be a fourth down, last-ditch effort, and you know it's going to be a pass, watch Reggie on this one.
Put some heat on.
I guarantee you, Reggie White came in to get sack number 4 right here.
And he won't get it.
Yeah, he can still get it.
Steve Young had the ball slip out of his hands, I think, or hit somebody's helmet the way he's going.
Roy Butler's going to play some more.
Yeah.
You see him go over there and give a hug to Fritz Shermer.
There's Derby. Bangs away for about 4, 5, maybe more.
You know, you wonder what this does to the 49ers, because we talked about them having a monkey on their back before the game, and they really do. I mean, Steve Young has never beaten the Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers have knocked the 49ers out of the playoffs the last 3 years. They've beaten them now. It'll be 5 in a row.
Yep.
And so at some point you have to say the Packers have the 49ers number, and if the 49ers are going to take that next jump up, they have to beat the Green Bay Packers.
Derby inside the 20 to about the 18.
Kneel down. But all these people stay here and enjoy it.
You know, you're talking about Bill Parcells. There's a 4-way tie for first place in the AFC East. 4 teams with a record of 5-3.
But the Packers had a little down area there when they lost to Minnesota, and then they came back and lost to Detroit, and they lost a little confidence, really weren't sure about themselves. But whatever they lost, I think they got it back today against the 49ers.
They need to do something to stop the interception. Park had 3 more today.
Yeah, but you know, the thing that's okay about that is throw 3 interceptions, but then the way to stop is come back and throw 3 touchdown passes and just keep competing and playing hard. And that's one thing about both of these great quarterbacks in this game, is that they're tough guys and they're great competitors, and they know how to play this game.
Disappointing day at Lambeau for Steve Young. And the hex, whatever it was, a jinx or hex or